So our phylum is phylum Chordata. Me and my partner Mary are the ones who created this presentation, and then our names are spelled Mary Hanania, which is Maryhanania, and then my name Tracey Bontilao, which is TraceyBontilao. And some defining characteristics of phylum Chordata is that these chordates have a notochord, which is a rod made of cartilage along the axis of the body. They also have pharyngeal gill slits and then a dorsal hollow nerve cord. And then all these traits are only present at some stage of the life cycle of these animals. It doesn't have to last the entirety of their lives. And then also these characteristics can also be vestigial, which means that they serve no purpose but are still present within the body. For example, during embryonic development, humans have gill slits, which we obviously don't use anymore but are still present within embryonic development. And a subphylum of the final phylum chordates is the Urochordata subphylum, and these are known as sea squirts or tunicates, and these are filter-feeding primarily marine animals which become sessile adults, which means they're sedentary and they don't move about once they're established. Their body composition is that they're covered in a tough tunic made of material similar in composition to cellulose, and these animals have two large openings, which are the incurrent and excurrent siphons. And furthermore, to go into more detail about their body composition, internally they have a large pharyngeal basket, which is made up of many pharyngeal gill slits. Water is drawn through these by ciliary action, and then it goes in the incurrent siphon and then out the excurrent siphon. And their process of digestion is that the pharynx secretes mucus, and then the mucus extracts food particles and collects them, and then the mucus is then digested, and the waste products are expelled near the excurrent siphon. And just to go into more detail about defining characteristics of this subphylum, the larvae are free-swimming tadpole-like creatures, which really is a defining characteristic of this subphylum and which makes them different than like other subphylums. As adults, they have a long tail surrounding a notochord. They have a dorsal hollow nerve cord and then pharyngeal gill slits.
Again.
This is subphylum Cephalochordata. It's also known as lancelets or amphiochus. They spend a lot of their time in really shallow waters and they filter feed, and they spend a great deal of their lives with half buried in the sand, so like just their heads are sticking out, like you kind of saw in the first slide. And they have a really well-developed excretory system and circulatory system, and they are flat and fish-like, and they have many zigzag muscles called myotomes. So for the anatomy of the lancelet, the body of the lancelet is fusion-formed, meaning it evolved to swim through the water more easily over time, and the notochord, which runs along the lancelet, stabilizes and supports the dorsal nerve cord. And the dorsal fin basically starts at the top of the dorsal nerve cord and wraps all the way around the caudal fin and then back to where the ventral fin is, and it ends at the ventral fin. And then the areas where the dorsal fin does not cover, there are two ridges known as metapleural folds, which cover the rest of the ventral surface, which would be all this area down here. The process of digestion in lancelots is water's taken in through the mouth, and it passes through the oral cerca and then into the velum and then into the pharynx. Organic particles are then passed through the pharyngeal gill slits, which then filters out the water, and the organic particles then stick to the mucus that was created by the endostyle. And then the water is transferred out through the atropores that are located at the atrium of the lancelet. Digestion takes place in the ileocolic ring, which is in the intestine of the lancelet, and the digestive enzymes which break down the organic food particles are called hepatic cyclin. There's some defining characteristics of a lancelot. Their eggs are fertilized externally, meaning outside of the body, and their larvae are free-swimming. They have very small brains and a very simple nervous system, so they aren't extremely complex in that sense. And during their lifetime, they go through a progressive metamorphosis, so they go through like the egg phase and the larvae phase. And they have visible segmented gonads in the body under their livers. And the fun fact is their blood is colorless because they do not have a heart in their circulatory system. Thank you.